If you ever played the original Dead Space, you might remember the dread of USCG Ishimura, how it was blood, metal, and more industrial. If you played it a little further, you would have stumbled upon the hydroponics section, where you might have seen these plants kept in an enclosure, and suddenly it's no longer just like industrial steel, metal, and blood. Suddenly you're surrounded by towering enclosures of glowing green plants. The first time I stood there, I stopped looking for necromorphs for a second and just thought, why is this here? Why plants? Why in an enclosure? That single moment of curiosity led me down a rabbit hole. I paused the game and opened Google and discovered the science of hydroponics, growing plants in nutrient-rich water without soil. It completely makes sense. On a deep space mining ship, a hydroponics chamber is not just sci-fi or like necessity or aesthetics. It kind of makes sense. You need to save space and at the same time manage the weight of the entire spacecraft. And this is what this video is about. It's about the unique chain of thoughts that video games trigger when you play through the game. It's no longer just entertainment, it also gets the gears in your head spinning about why a certain level is designed the way it is supposed to be. Now, don't get me wrong, I love movies, but if you've watched Ridley Scott's masterpiece of the Alien franchise, you would have known the set pieces are just there to like entertain us. They really don't trigger a lot of thoughts per se. But when you play Alien Isolation, the world transforms from a set piece into a functional machine. The Sevastopol station is so unimaginably massive that you literally have to use a transit subway just to travel between sectors. Think of that for a second. You are using a vehicle inside another vehicle. It's just mind-boggling. The closest to that you can see in the modern day would be an aircraft carrier, where it utilizes a fighter jet to bring it on top of the flight deck for takeoff. That is a lift, which is a vehicle within another vehicle. Now, some might argue that science fiction novels and history books have been doing this for centuries. But at the end of the day, they're just like paragraphs in a book. If you read about ancient Egypt from a novel or a book in general, you might picture the same kind of landscape that you get to see in the current day Egypt. That might be similar in the Ptolemaic era. But if the devs of Assassin's Creed Origins wouldn't have put in that kind of effort and detail to craft level design or like a world that kind of portrays almost near accurately to how Egypt was back then. I know it's like they've taken their creative freedom, it's not 100% accurate, but if you played Assassin's Creed Origins, you would realize how the Ptolemaic Egypt was lush green. It had a lot of agricultural fields where it was not just desert all around. It did had these oases of like settlements and civilizations where people grow plants just besides the Nile, and how they would utilize the Nile to like irrigate their fields. That sense of scale can only be experienced if you play Assassin's Creed. I don't think any book can come close to showcasing that, what Assassin's Creed Origins has done. Video games bridge the gap between imagination and reality. Take Dying Light 2 for example. They are having a funeral on a rooftop. If you watch a series of post-apocalyptic future, you would just be shown the narrative that was written. But when you play a game like Dying Light 2, you have to parkour all the way to the rooftop and see this funeral happen. And it kind of makes complete sense because the ground is overrun by infected. The culture around the city has formed in a way where they have to do the burial on the rooftop. Think of that for a second, how much thought process game designers have to put in terms of world building, that the funeral is happening on a rooftop. Now this brings me to the reality which is very close to home here in India. When you say you're a gamer, when you like playing games, first thing that comes to the mind for a lot of people is PUBG and BGMI. When you say you're a gamer, they think about you being airdropped into an island, fighting your way through, dying, respawning, and rinse and repeat. That's what a lot of people in India think gaming is about. They don't understand that gaming is beyond Battle Royale. So the next time when someone tells you games are just a distraction, ask them if their opinion comes from Battle Royales or they've played beyond PUBG and BGMI. Thanks for watching.